This is The Litter Box, a Detroit Lions podcast with your hosts, Chet West and Bill Patterson.
Lions Litter Box fans, we got a 16% chance of making the playoffs at this point. We are not mathematically eliminated yet. However, I think in spirit, we are probably done for. Too many things will have to happen to get us to the postseason in this 2025-26 season here. Bill, have you seen a worse quarter of football in the Dan Campbell era than our third quarter against the Steelers yesterday?
No, Chet. I mean, short answer. That was absolutely awful. Watching it with family and loved ones, and the question kept coming up, have the Lions had the ball? Yeah, for 3 total plays in one quarter of football. So everything you and I have been stating, Chet, for the last, let's say, 8 weeks, came home to roost yesterday. The offensive line was absolutely abysmal. You know, you and I have both wondered what this offensive line would look like without Graham Glasgow. And Chet, it was far worse than I ever could have thought it would ever be. And Christian Mahogany probably came back from his injury too soon because he was whiffing on blocks all over the place.
Brutal to watch.
Kingsley, undrafted free agent,
Iguakun
was brought on, but then also
not going to be here anymore.
He got a quick hook, and I'd love to say the defensive line was better, Chet, but they weren't. They got gouged by the 28th ranked rushing offense in the NFL by your Pittsburgh Steelers to the tune of 8.5 yards per carry. Chet, it was as ugly as a game as I've ever seen. And my question to you is, what do you want for Christmas for this Lions team first? A new offensive coordinator, a new defensive coordinator, or 10 new players?
I think it's a combination of the above. I'm not ready to give up on our defensive coordinator yet. I'm fine with the D coordinator sticking around for another year. I think we're good there. I think this is more of personnel, injuries. How many times yesterday did Tony Romo break down how Harper, who's a second-year safety, and I can't remember who was playing next to Harper yesterday for most of the game. Was it Maddox? I don't think it was Maddox, because Maddox was hurt like half the time at least. They had somebody else running around out there with him. At any rate, the fact that I can't remember the name should tell you a lot. They had 2 safeties getting sucked up into the middle on every run play, and the Steelers saw this happen. They knew that we did not have safety depth, and they knew that we had inexperienced safeties. What is the name of their offensive coordinator, Bill?
Arthur Smith?
Arthur Smith. He was painting with oils yesterday. That man was an artist. He knew exactly how to attack us and where, and just beat the daylights out of our defense. And to be honest, that third quarter, I think they were just flat tired. They were on the field so much in the third quarter. They just looked like they couldn't get to a ball to save their lives. They couldn't get to a guy carrying the ball to save their lives. It was an absolute disaster for the defense. And honestly, we talked about how, they aren't going to run on us. I didn't pick Jaylen Warren as the fantasy running back for that game.
Well, he blew up. He had a good game, but so did Kenneth Gainwell, who I decided...
Gainwell was... My gosh,
I decided to start Tyrone Tracy instead of that, which every fantasy expert agreed with me on, but I might lose this week because of that move.
Yeah.
And you were correct. Devontae Maddox started yesterday at strong safety.
He did, but he didn't play much because he got hurt like 5 times.
Yeah, Daniel Thomas is also Daniel Thomas, thank you.
It's Harper and Thomas back there, and they were getting sucked up in the middle on every run play, and they would just dart right out to the side. We had no safety coverage there. They blow right past everybody. I think the game plan was to try and get pressure up the middle on Rodgers, and we couldn't do it. Our guys just couldn't get up the middle.
The problem with all that is Arthur Smith's offense hasn't changed since he first became a head coach with the Atlanta Falcons. Everybody should have known exactly what was coming, and that's why I put defensive coordinator on this list. Chet, this is the 5th straight week the Lions have given up more than 27 points. I don't know that the Kelvin Shepard experiment is still viable in any way, shape, or form.
If Shep is gone, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
If he's gone, I'm fine. I'm not going to lose sleep over Shep being gone. But
That's
I do
fair.
think, in the pecking order of needs, I think this is somewhere in the bottom. to be honest with you.
It's not
We've got to get an OC first. We need an OC. And we need an OC that can game plan not just to score, but to control the clock and keep the offense on the field. We can't seem to do that.
And I think what we're seeing is MCDC spread far too thin in terms of
way too thin.
He can't manage the game anymore because he's so worried about, just calling offensive plays. The other part of this, I think John Morton's tenure in the NFL is done.
Do you think he's even giving any input at this point? What do you think his role really is at this point?
I'm sure he reviews the play sheet or
you think
helps
he chirps
assemble.
in MCDC's ear and says hey, maybe we should get a run play in here every once in a while.
I don't know that he has voting power anymore. I think he might have been officially.
Nothing.
He might have gotten voted off the island officially, and
he's been a dead man walking for a while.
I mean, I think when he was demoted, Dan was like, you don't have to put the house for sale now, but you might want to talk to your real estate agent because you're not going to be here next year.
I have a feeling it was a keep a seat warm thing. And if we, high upside deal for Morton, if we do really well, maybe you spin this into another deal or you get to stay for another year or so. But I don't think one positive I will pull out of all this is the Lions don't make the playoffs. And
They're
knowing what they need so early, mathematically, we're not there yet, but knowing what they need so early in the season at this point, Brad Holmes has time to go out and find the right guy. He's going to have his pick of the litter here coming up. There's nobody that's not going to want to be on that staff. There's nobody that's not going to want to work the Lions. The Lions have a good culture going. They're going to be able to figure this out and get the guy they want. The question is, will they choose the right guy?
Well, I don't know that they totally chose. I mean, yes, we can.
I think they were left with Morton last year.
They were left with Morton. Thank you. You put the words right in my mouth. Ben Johnson left so late. And even though it was a foregone conclusion, the other good, viable candidates had been gobbled up. And
they did. It wasn't that they didn't have an idea who they wanted. They just couldn't go hire somebody. They couldn't sit there and be like, hey, Ben's. I guess they could say hey, you might have a gig with us, but Ben hasn't left yet. So think about that before you take anything else. But guys are, offensive coordinators are like bird in hand. Yeah, I'm going where, if I get an offer, I'm not waiting around for you guys to figure out if Ben's leaving or not.
So let's talk about a couple names then. Yeah. I know you've got a couple that intrigue you.
I actually don't. I haven't dove into this. I haven't wanted to think about it too much. Outside of a Mike McDaniel type guy that if he gets dumped from Miami,
I would take him in a second.
In a heartbeat. But I do feel in that, and you give me your ideas here in a minute, but I feel like in that mold, we need a guy that's a proven quantity as an offensive coordinator that also fits what Campbell wants to do. Because it's very obvious to me, if you aren't doing what Campbell wants to do, he's going to take over.
So I like Mike McDaniel. Yeah. I don't know that he's as committed to running the ball as MCDC would be and Brad Holmes would be. The name that I think we should keep a close eye on is because who knows what's going to happen in Pittsburgh. I mean, they're probably going to win the division. They're probably going to make the playoffs. Hats off to the Steelers yesterday. In our preview chat, we said there was one thing they could do to win the game, and that was control the clock, win the turnover battle, and run the ball. Yeah. And guess what? Check, check, check. So
Arthur did it.
What I was going to say is Arthur Smith would be a dream hire for me. I think he would.
I don't think he's going anywhere.
I don't think he is either.
He's like one of those guys that's like the career OC and just stays put and is happy where he is.
Do you know who his dad is? Fred Smith that started FedEx.
Really?
So he's a trust fund baby.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. He
doesn't need any money.
No, he doesn't. But let's just say, hypothetically, if Tomlin's gone and the Steelers decide to clean house, or if the Steelers put pressure on Tomlin to make some changes, I mean, Arthur Smith would go to the top of the list for me. I don't know about you, but
No, I'm there. We need the Mike Maddox of offensive coordinators. We need a guy that has no ambition to be a head coach, but just wants to be an OC because he loves the art of the offense. I want a guy who has authored a book called The Art of the Offense.
Yeah. So the keys to the game, I guess if we're going to recap really quick here, wasn't the bungled Amon-Ra St. Brown pass interference that ended the game when
that was terrible, by the way. Tesla got blocked into that guy. Yeah. And I don't want to find excuses. There's a million reasons we lost this game, and it never should have gotten to that. But you saw that happen. His guy cut him off and bounced him right into the receiver.
Mm-hmm.
There was no pick play on there. It was nothing close to what Washington did to our guy at the other end of the field when he just flat ran dead into him. Yeah. So I don't, that last play, I get that. That I understand. That was a push off. I mean, Amon-Ra got a push off. 5 grabbed a little. Amon-Ra pushed off. It was a physical play. They call that like 10% of the time, but they got Amon-Ra for it right there because he was right out in the middle of nowhere. Very hard to question.
So if I had said to you the Lions would have run the ball 12 times for a total of 15 yards, a 1.3 yard average, what would you have predicted the final score to be?
A loss, period.
Yeah.
I don't know what the score would have been, but we would not win a game running the ball that much. And Jared Goff threw for 350 and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Jared Goff, I'm going to tell you, and Romo said this earlier on in the broadcast, like he could be up for MVP strictly because he has literally, I think, held that offense together. Yeah, I think it's him and his precision and his ability to pick apart a defense.
Yes.
And he did it under duress almost every time. And you saw him start to get frustrated yesterday in the second half. It was interesting. Like Rodgers has one failed play and he looks like he's going to rip everybody's head off, right? Like he's just like, oh, everybody's terrible around me. What the hell's going on? Goff is this patient, positive, kind of like smack you on the butt when you do wrong. But yesterday, he had this look on his face like, what are you guys doing? Now, granted, he was on his like 3rd or 4th center. And it was like, what? I mean, he couldn't even get a snap back with the laces in the right spot. This is the NFL. You snap the ball with the laces in the right spot. It was unbelievable to watch. Like, I can't imagine his frustration.
I can't either.
I think he deserves a team MVP for the season. Don't give it to Gibbs because Gibbs has disappeared.
Yeah, he gets the game ball, the only game ball for yesterday. Nobody on the defense deserves anything. Before we, I guess, round out this and say goodbye, what happened to the defensive line yesterday?
I feel like
Neal had one play. Williams didn't play. Reeder's
done.
He's quit on the team or quit on the NFL. Yeah. And Roy Lopez shows up, every 6 plays?
Our D-line inside of, and by the way, Davenport has been a non-factor too. Waiting for him to be something has been a huge disappointment. I started thinking about yesterday, watching plays. Some of those guys were getting up kind of slow, I think some of them are just playing dinged up and hurt. And I know every NFL player does by this time of the season, but I'm wondering if McNeil's all the way back. I'm wondering if Reeder is in good health. I'm wondering if Davenport is in good health. Davenport got up off the ground yesterday at one point and had to be helped up by 2 guys and shook his head and got back in the huddle. And I'm going, dude, if you're hurt, you're not helping us at all. Like, get out of there. I
don't want to hammer it home again, but the lack of depth on both sides of the lines is or choosing the wrong guys.
I think it's choosing the wrong guys.
Williams and Davenport.
Yeah. I think you've got guys that should be rotational pieces.
Yeah,
coming in as starters, and in other parts we've lost guys down to where we're in our 3 and 4 deep.
Yeah.
So you've got guys that probably shouldn't be starting, don't have a lot of upside in their career right now, and guys that are 3rd and 4th stringers on the backside of them. But the only guy on the defense this year I'll give a hats off to is Hutch and Jack Campbell and Hutch. They've been there, healthy, playing every game, busting their hump. The rest of those guys, like Amik is like 50-50. Rock Yassin is fine until he mugs somebody to death. It's a very, it's those guys that don't quite have it, do other things to make up for it and usually get flagged for it or aren't doing it right, and or overcommit or something. You kind of watch like that's why you're a backup.
So I'm going to wrap this up. The Lions lost 29-24 at home to go 5-3 at Ford Field this season. Their playoff hopes are hanging by fingernails. Essentially, they need to win out, and the Packers need to lose out, and that is how they can make the playoffs. Last thought for you, Chet, is this, and I'm going to give our loyal Litterbox listeners a little early Christmas present, and that is this. The Philadelphia Eagles experienced something very similar when Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon were both hired by the Arizona Cardinals and Indianapolis Colts. Both coordinators gone. They got the hires complete. They completely whiffed on it. Then they didn't win the division, and then they signed Saquon, got competent coordinators in, and they won the Super Bowl last year. So there's still hope. This window's still open and alive. I just don't feel very good about it in 2025. With that, go Honolulu Blue and Silver. We'll preview the Vikings game later this week. Happy holidays to all of you, and thank you for listening.
Go Lions.